Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to the Mark Richt Show. Joe Zagacki alongside my broadcast partner, Don Bailey Jr. Our show, of course, brought to you by Williamson Automotive. The coach joins us momentarily. The Hurricanes wrap up the season 8-4 with a great win over the Duke Blue Devils, 40-21. It was senior day, and boy, did the offense explode on senior day.
They certainly did, Joe. Miami went back and forth with Duke in the first half, a tight ball game, but in the second half, Brad Kaya came to life. The defense shut down the Blue Devils, and that offense exploded. And I will tell you, you've got to be licking your chops if you're a Hurricane fan for the bowl game, but also what the future of this Mark Richt offense brings to the University of Miami.
Brad Kaya, 4 touchdown passes, over 300 yards, and he breaks Ken Dorsey's all-time passing yards record, so he is now the all-time leader in passing yards at the University of Miami.
What an amazing feat. This is done in 3 years. This young man came in on a regular time schedule. He wasn't an early enrollee as a true freshman, started his first game his freshman year, has been a starter every game since unless he's been injured or knocked out of a ball game, but he's grabbed a hold of this offense. They adjusted. They had a little bit of a lull everybody knows about in the month of October, but he grasped it again, and they finished so strong in November, and the running game kicked in, the tight ends kicked in, they spread the football around, and wham, 4 wins in the month of November.
David Njoku, 2 touchdown catches, 2 spectacular touchdown catches.
What a talent, you know, and I'm going to tell you, we know what David Njoku is. We saw that today. We've seen it all season, but the blocking that he got downfield today was a lot of extra credit given to those guys because they were downfield pushing. Stacy Coley on his long run, on his long catch and run, did a great job. You had everybody involved, so it was a team effort on those big plays.
It was Hard Rock Stadium, 57,000 fans at Hard Rock Stadium. The Hurricanes go over 50,000 in every home game. The Hurricanes defense also did a good job. After giving up 2 touchdowns, they were able to stiffen the rest of the way. Let's take a look at the highlights brought to you by UL Sports Medicine. We get you back in the game. And the journey begins. A 47-yard field goal for Badgley as the distance, and it is good. Jones to throw for it. End zone slant, caught for a touchdown. Looking, standing tall, throwing for Mark Walton. He's got him! What a catch! A diving, lunging catch by Walton. Snap comes back. He's looking. He throws across the middle. It is caught into the end zone. Touchdown. Low shotgun snap, knee high. Jones a throw. He's hit and drop. The ball popped out as well at the end. Throw against a blitz picked up by Walton. He throws deep. He's got Njoku out there. He's got it at the 40. Njoku at the 30. 25-20. Breaks a tackle. Njoku into the end zone. Touchdown, Miami. Going deep again for Stacy Coley. It is caught. He's going to throw for it. Looking, throwing, slant. Yep. Coley caught. Touchdown.
There you go.
To the air.
Whoa.
And he's in trouble, and down he goes.
There you go.
Miami got him. It's a sack.
Ignored.
Throwing underneath. Caught by David Njoku at midfield down the far sideline at the 40. Njoku at the 30. 25-20. He might go. He's at the 10. 5. Into the end zone. Touchdown, David Njoku. What a run with 6:54 to go in the game. Looking, throws on the run. Touchdown back in the end zone. It's been a November to remember for the University of Miami. Hurricanes 40. Blue Devils 21. And welcome back, everyone, to the Mark Richt Show, presented by Williamson Automotive. Joe Zagacki with Don Bailey Jr. and the Hurricanes with a November to remember. Joined now by University of Miami head coach Mark Richt. And Coach, congratulations, 4 in a row in November.
That's great. October wasn't very nice, obviously, but it was good to finish like we did. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Coach Snellenberg used to say, people remember what you do in November. Yeah. Might not have been him, but I'll give him credit for it. If it wasn't him, it was Wayne McDuffie at Georgia or Florida State at the time. Anyway, it was a good finish, and I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for our seniors, and and how they started and finished for us. And it started in January with all the new ways of doing things and all the off season, and just really proud of how they led us through the entire season.
And Coach, let's stick on that leadership part of it. You talk about the rough October, but this team hung together. They stayed together. They were committed to winning, and everybody kept pushing and pushing and pushing.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I always say that you can't create team unity in the middle of adversity. It reveals whether you have team unity or not. So where you build a team is January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August camp. You know, that's where you build your team, and then you go play ball, and then you get hit in the mouth sometimes. And when you do, how do you respond? Do you stick together or do you start to fall apart? And we really did stick together, and it did start with the senior leadership, but everybody along the way who's still with us did a good job.
November concluded with a great victory over Duke, 40-21, and during the course of the game, you went on a 34-0 run in the course of the game. So that was nice, yes. And again, the second half was great.
Yeah, we played well in the second half again, and you know, I'll say this: one of the biggest plays in the first half was Kaya pulling the ball and getting 2 yards. That was huge.
Made a nice move too.
Yeah, I mean, we were like, oh boy, we're in trouble here, and they had that thing snuffed out pretty good, but he pulled it out and got it on his own, which was great. That was big. I think the field goals at the time that were made by Badgley were key for us to keep the momentum and have the lead at halftime. But second half is when things really, you know, took over, and starting with the defense, doing a great job. I think shut them out in the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken. And then after Brad audibled that one play and launched it to David Njoku, that it kind of opened up the floodgates right there.
Coach, let's go back to Brad Kaya. He now sits as the leading passer in University of Miami history. And I mean, that's a pretty impressive number for him, but also he is in a crowd of some well-known quarterbacks.
Yeah. Great quarterback tradition at Miami. You could say quarterback you, linebacker you, receiver you could say just about any position. And the University of Miami's got great ones, but the QBs in particular have, you know, won Heisman trophies, first pick of the draft, Super Bowl participants, and just, you know, some of the greatest quarterbacks in college and pro history. And so here's his name right up on the top of them when it comes to number of yards passing.
Was there a learning curve for him? The Duke game, again, he was terrific. 10 touchdowns in the month of November, 1 interception that really wasn't even his to a certain extent.
Yeah. Well, I think we blocked better. I think that helps. But for the most part, he's done a great job all year of not putting the ball in harm's way. And, you know, when I first started talking to him and all the QBs, we talk about, you know, how more games get lost than won. Usually you do something to help the other team to win. And if you don't help the other team by just throwing the ball up for grabs and all those types of things as a quarterback, then you got a chance to win games and be consistent in winning them. And you know, it's okay to punt. You hate to punt, but it's okay to punt. If you're back there 7 yards deep and you throw the ball away, guess what? You gain those 7 yards back. If you hold the ball too long and get sacked, now you're getting punished physically, and the ball may come out and you're losing that yardage. So sometimes the best thing to do is just throw the ball away in a safe spot. And Brad's really learned to do that well. But now, I think early on, he was trying to throw the ball where we get it or nobody gets it, but a lot of times nobody got it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I had to reteach him. I had to say it better. You know, and I was like, throw the ball where we have a better chance to catch it than they do, meaning, but still within the framework of our receivers' bodies. And then when he started doing that, everything changed.
Coach, no secret that the passing game excelled when the running game excelled. And November, again, outstanding job. And then today, you outrushed Duke by almost 100 yards.
It was good, and I know Malik's last run was big. You know, got a lot of yards there. We called the naked and the route, but I told him in private, you keep it no matter what. You know, I didn't want to look like we were trying to run it up, but, you know, a lot of times everybody sells the farm to stop the run. I just wanted a first down and be able to kill the clock and win the game. And as it turned out, we got a long run out of it, but in the end, we just took a knee and finished it. There's no point in trying to add to the score at that point.
Duke is an interesting team. They do try to play to a specific identity. It took a while to pull them out of that identity, but they got the 14 points in the first 2 drives, and then defense just really took over.
I thought they played harder than we did in the beginning. I really do. I think they ran a little harder than we did. I think they blocked a little harder. Early on, it was like pass skeleton for them. 7-on-7, the QB dropped back, didn't get much of a rush. We didn't get much of a rush on them. They're just banging away, moving right down the field, running their offense. And then, we tightened up the screws and played just a little bit harder in the second half and made the difference. Hurricanes
with a great victory against Duke to wrap up the season 40-21. Hurricanes will be going bowling. They've won 4 games in a row and finished up 8-4. And Coach Richt's first season as head coach of the University of Miami will continue on the Mark Richt Show right after this. And welcome back to the Mark Richt Show, presented by Williamson Automotive. Joe Zagacki and Don Bailey Jr. With University of Miami head coach Mark Richt. The Hurricanes finished the season winning 4 straight games. One of the guys that might have gone under the radar to some, but not to you, your punter, Justin Vogel. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, Vogel's amazing, I think. And I've seen some really good punters over the years, but a guy that can boom it high and deep. It's not that uncommon for him to get a 5-0 hang time, which is uncommon for a punter. His direction is tremendous. When it's time to pooch it and get guys down inside the 10-yard line, he does that as good as anybody. And then we do what we call, the rugby-style punt. We don't run real far, but we move to our right, and it helps us protect away from some junk coming off the backside. And if you remember that bomb that he hit, that 58-yard bomb, that was off of a rugby kick. And most people, when they kick rugby, they just kind of shoot it out there and let it roll and all that. But that guy can drill that as well. It's amazing.
Coach, let's spend a second on special teams. Today, Travis Homer, the opening kickoff, he runs down there and makes some plays. You've got Mark Walton, the starter, who's on some special teams.
Tailbacks, man.
Exactly. Homer found his role this year, as did a lot of freshmen on special teams.
Oh, yeah. A lot. We did a kickoff return. I think we had 5 or 6 true freshmen on that team as starters and a bunch of freshmen covering kicks and all that kind of thing. And, Homer really, Travis, one of the best ones on the team, period, regardless of whether he's a freshman or not, just very fast and athletic and just cares enough to get somebody on the ground. It's fun to see a kid do that and get some value out of that first season.
Badgley, he knocked 21 through again this year, and I think kicked at about an 80% clip. I think he only missed 4 or 5 field goals all year. That's pretty good.
He did well. And I didn't know he'd kick as many out of the end zone, or at least into the end zone where they was not returnable. As I was watching practice in pregame, in camp in August, my guess was we were going to be having to cover a bunch of kicks, but shoot, game day, he started knocking them out, and he was probably, I bet he was 2/3 of his kicks were not returnable, if not more.
Your team worked themselves into a pretty good bowl game, it would appear.
I hope so.
Right?
They're all good.
They're all good. And how will you use the bowl game, and what does it mean for you in your first year here?
Well, right now the players are going to get into lifting and running and all that kind of thing in school. That's what they're going to do. And the coaches are going to get on the road recruiting for the next couple of weeks until the dead period. And then when final exams are over, we'll kind of crank up bowl practice. And depending on where we go and when we go, like if we have one close to New Year's Day or New Year's Day, we'll practice a little bit, let them go home for Christmas for 3 or 4 days, and then meet the day after Christmas at the bowl site. If the bowl is more like the 26th or 27th or something, we'll be practicing right through Christmas, And I've had Christmas at a bowl site once or twice, and we'll definitely make the best of it if that's what happens.
But Coach, with the bowl game comes the opportunity for more practice, and I think that's significant. I mean, you can log 12 or 15 practices, almost getting another spring.
We talked about that as a staff, and usually you play a bunch of freshmen at that time. You practice a bunch of freshmen. You develop those guys. Well, our guys have been practicing and playing. We don't have a bunch of extra guys. They've all been playing. They've all been practicing, almost every one of them. There's a couple guys you might grab, transfers that maybe were ineligible or something. But we don't have a lot of guys to do what a lot of teams do. So I'm not going to practice 15 times just for the heck of it. I'm going to do enough to develop those players that didn't get enough, so to speak. But we're going to mainly focus on whoever our opponent is and try to win that bowl game.
Well, that's our next question. We haven't won a bowl game since 2006 when we were in Idaho, of all places. So I think winning a bowl game probably significant and really helps in so many different ways, including recruiting.
I mean, it's great. I mean, I've learned over the years that the feeling that you get at the end of a victory, it doesn't matter what victory, game 1 through 12, bowl game, it's just worth it. The celebration in the locker room, the feeling that you get of accomplishment. Sometimes I know as a younger coach, I was kind of like, okay, we won, let's go to the next one. But I've learned to appreciate and celebrate victories a little bit better than I used to.
Coach, let's go to recruiting a little bit. The importance of the fans and how they impact recruiting and what a great job they've done this year. Over 50,000 a game. That hasn't been done here. Period.
So it was awesome. I mean, just driving in and seeing all the tailgating going on. That whole parking lot where we pulled in was packed on both sides, and it means a lot to our guys to know that many people care. And the weather helped. I'm sure it was a beautiful day, but and then the cane walk is so meaningful to our guys to let them know that they're loved, and people care about them. And our seniors got introduced, and the fans that were there did a beautiful job of honoring them. So I can't ask for much more than what we're getting, and we're just thankful for everybody that showed up and supported us.
Well, it's been about a year, and I have to say, truth be told, about this time last year, I told Don, I might have whispered in his ear, Don, maybe we can get Coach Richt to come be our coach.
Well, I loved my time at Georgia, there's no doubt. I mean, it was great, and I love the people there and everything else, but it ended, and then I had a chance to come here, and couldn't be at a better place. My wife and I are loving it, and my family loves it too.
Well, we love that you're here, Coach, and we greatly appreciate and thank you for being with us, and congratulations on your first year.
Yeah, I had fun with you guys. We gonna do it again after the bowl, or what's the deal?
Yeah, we're gonna before and after.
Okay.
All right, Don and I will come back, and we'll wrap things up here on the Mark Richt Show, so don't go away. Welcome back, everyone, to the Mark Richt Show, presented by Williamson Automotive. Joe Zagacki and Don Bailey Jr. The University of Miami concludes the regular season with 4 straight wins. It's the first time since 2002 that Miami has ended the season with 4 straight wins. That gives them a lot of momentum.
It does, Joe, in a couple different areas, right? Going into the bowl game and also recruiting, and the foundation that has been laid by Mark Richt and this staff about the importance this team put on the month of November. They recovered from October, they reset their goals, they recalibrated the engine, the offense exploded, and the defense, I think we really need to single them out again on what a great season they had. Manny Diaz and that entire staff put together a wonderful effort.
Yeah, you take a look at the numbers, the Hurricane numbers defensively were down in every column, so a tremendous job there. And in the second half this year, they held their opponents to 7.6 points per game, and they did it again against Duke.
That they did, and everybody, it seems, was under their average in either passing or running in every ball game. And Miami in the top, in 4 categories in the top 30 coming into this final contest, and tackles for loss. While there may not have been as many today, and that had to do with the structure of the Duke offense, but overall tackles for loss, something that Coach Diaz wanted, and he got.
All right, Mark Richt's first season, 8-4, with a chance to win a bowl game. And really, it was a great chance for him to evaluate exactly what he has in the program and what he's up against inside the ACC.
Well, I can say this. Mark Richt has laid a fantastic foundation for a bright future for the University of Miami. He molded a team together. They never let him down. They never quit on him. He never quit on them. He was a person that showed consistency in his approach every single week. And that's what you want. You want your head coach to be a guy that you can go to and get the answers, but also you know who you're getting every single day in Mark Richt. And I think the future is very, very bright for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, for Don Bailey Jr. and University of Miami head coach Mark Richt, I'm Joe Zagacki. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time right here on the Mark Richt Show.